Hey, do you want a build that has an insane ad clear that you can achieve with very minimal effort while having one of the best and highest single target DPSs of the entire game? Well then, here we go. Now, stat-wise, we are going to be going for 100 recovery, 100 discipline, and the rest I like to put in resilience, because in higher level content, it is the difference between you surviving a sniper and not surviving his shot. Now, the stasis fragments, as you can see, are also going to help you achieve this, so we get the 20 extra resilience and 10 recovery, so make sure you include those when choosing your armor mods. Now, if you're wondering how do you achieve the double or triple 100 stats, then make sure you have your ghost mod of recovery armor equipped, and then you just go to the helm and focus your umbral engrams in the helm. That's going to provide you with some easy high stat rolls on recovery and discipline at the same time. Alright, so as for the aspects and fragments that we are going to be using in this build, we are going to be starting with Grim Harvest. Now this aspect is going to be producing those stasis shards whenever we defeat frozen or slowed targets. Now these shards are very important because they're going to be making us charged with light, giving us font of might, and healing us with an overshield. Alright, so for the second aspect we are going to be using Touch of Winter, which is going to further boost our dust field grenade by making the area bigger and also spawning a stasis crystal in the middle. This is also going to be stacking with the new exotic stasis gloves that we get for the hunter. As for the fragments, we're going to be starting with Whisper of Chains, which is going to give us that extra resistance whenever we're standing next to frozen targets or stasis crystals. This also gives us a free and nice 10 recovery, which is always good to have. The next fragment is going to be the Whisper of Conduction, and this is going to attract all those stasis shards that we create using the aspect of Grim Harvest. That way we don't have to go and collect them ourselves, and this is also giving us 10 resilience and 10 intellect, which is always nice to have. The next fragment we're gonna be using is the Whisper of Shards, and this is a very important fragment because it's gonna give us a crazy boost to our grenade recharge rate whenever we destroy a stasis crystals. Meaning our grenade is gonna be coming back much quicker thanks to this fragment. And it also gives us a 10 plus resilience, which is honestly very nice to have. The next fragment is going to be Whisper of Fissures, and this basically increases the size and the damage of the burst whenever you destroy either a stasis crystal or when you kill a frozen target. And the last fragment we're gonna be using is Whisper of Rime, which is gonna give us that nice healing and overshield whenever we collect the stasis shards that Grim Harvest creates. Now on our helmet we have Supreme Well Maker, because this is going to spawn 3 stasis wells whenever we use our super, meaning that once we pick up the wells or one of the wells, we instantly get Font of Might and High Energy Fire active for a juicy 50% damage to our stasis weapons, aka Reach Regret in this case. Harmonic Siphon, because we are going to be creating a million orbs of power because we're using stasis weapons. And then the Ammo Finder, you can swap it up to you. In Grandmaster content and Hardened content I use linear fusion rifles, whereas in easier content I just swap it around to trace rifles. For our exotic we are going to be using the Neural Grasps, because once you throw a gas field grenade on the ground and you're standing inside the field, you're gonna get extra resistance from them, and the enemies inside are also going to be doing less damage, which means it's a double resistance. Now we're using it with Elemental Shards, because this converts these shards so they count as stasis wells. And then Grenade Kickstart for the extra grenade energy. Now if you don't have that, you can just swap it around for another champion mod, it's not a problem, it's not a big deal. And then a champion mod of your choice. Now for our chest piece we are going to be using High Energy Fire for that extra 25% damage whenever we pick up a well. And then for the dampeners and the resistances, just adapt them to each activity. For our boots we are going to be using Font of Might for that extra 25% damage to our weapons, aka Reach Regret, Edge's Scepter. Any stasis weapon is gonna pretty much have a 25% constant damage boost to it. Then we're using Recuperation because we're gonna be creating so many orbs, so whenever we step on them it heals us, it gives us free HP, it's always good to have. And then the Scavenger, you just adapt it to whatever activity you're doing. In this case, if I'm doing Grandmasters, I'm gonna be using Scavengers for linear fusions. If I'm doing something easier, then I can swap it to Trace Rifles. For our final piece of equipment, we are going to be using Elemental Charge, which is going to activate High Energy Fire whenever we pick up a Elemental Well or a Stasis Shard in our case. Pair that up with special finisher, so we get that special ammo for us and our fire team, and then utility kickstart because it's always nice to have that extra energy whenever we dodge. When it comes to weapons, what I like to run in easier content is definitely Aegis Scepter because it's insanely good for Atclear, by far the best weapon for Atclear in the game, with a energy weapon of your choice, so it could be a Final Web, a Palindrome, a bow, and then depending on what I'm facing I would swap to a Palmyra or a Yui's Regret. Keep in mind, try to always stick to stasis weapons, because the Font of Might is pretty much going to be always active in this build. So when I'm facing a big boss, then I'll probably swap it to Yui's Regret. When I'm facing like small bosses, mini bosses, or anything that I just want to quickly clear, then I can swap it to Palmyra. For harder content, what I would run is Double Primary, with Stasis being one of them, just to deal with the champions, and then a Yui's Regret for that insane damage. So as you can see in the background, all you have to do is just pop your ulti, pick up one of the 3 wells that spawn, and then you got the 50% damage boost. Once Font of Might is about to run out, you go pick up the 2nd well, and then you renew the Font of Might buff, and then you pick up the 3rd well, and then you have a total of 25 to 30 seconds. So yeah, I highly recommend you guys try out this build, because it's honestly very fun, and just tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Now, have a wonderful rest of your day.